right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight on the show, we are going over some midterms, some grades of the Cubs today. And on the show first, we're going to be bringing in on Talking Sports with. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having it. It's the Bodkins from the Bodkins Show. I thought you were going to say my name, but
no. Sorry, I guess I should have said that. I let you introduce yourself, make it easier that way.
Hey, yes. My name's Bodkins from the Bodkins Show. I am a regular podcaster as well. We'll have 2 shows tomorrow night. Selfless plug here. Two shows coming this weekend. Tomorrow morning and Sunday morning we'll have a UFC 276 pre and post show. So make sure you guys check us out on the Bodkins Show. I also do weekly wrap ups every Sunday. We're bringing guests on and talk with kind of all things.
All right. So what baseball team do you cover?
We cover all sports. I cover all baseball teams, just kind of whatever. But I've been a diehard Cubs fan, I don't know, for 35 years.
All right. And our next guest on Talking Sports tonight, we have
NFL Outdated. How's it going, guys?
Good. Yourself, Mr. Outdated.
Any day I get to talk sports is a good day, especially when I get to talk about the 2016 Cubs and only that, right? We're not talking about 2022 Cubs. We're forgetting all that, right?
It just seems like a lifetime ago.
But it happened, and that's all we need to know.
They literally said, "We asked for give us one," and then they said, "You got your one now. Go fuck yourself." That's what Rick said.
I'll take it.
I'm getting the F-bombs out ready early, boys. I told you I get fired up when I talk about my Cubs.
Hey,
that's fine.
Tell you what, I'll take it. We got 2016. I'm good.
I'm a Pirates fan, so
yeah.
I'm a little lost.
Sorry.
I mean, my team tries to throw a guy out at home plate whenever the play was at first. So,
good old Willie Stargell, huh?
Willie Stargell, yes. Dave Parker,
Roberto Clemente,
Jason Bay,
yeah, Jason Kendall. They had some. They had some. Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole was on that team for a while.
Jameson Tyon,
Skinny Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day to you two boys.
Happy birthday, yes.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Saloon boys, yes. I mean, that bank account gets rocked every July 1st.
It does.
Best contract in sports history, is it not? I mean, best contract in sports history.
I was wondering if anyone did a podcast on that alone today or not.
They should. Well, before we get started, I just wanted to share what I'm drinking. I'm drinking some good old Corbel brandy with some Coke Zero. You got to, drown down the sorrows of 2022 Chicago Cubs baseball and on to 2023 eventually.
We might as well be looking at 2024, buddy.
Well, I'm gonna saloon with you, buddy. I got Jack Daniels in the dugout mug tonight.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
I had to get my other nickname on all my mugs. So
I guess I'm not the only girl. I'm actually drinking Bud Light next. I got this last weekend when I went to the river. So it's 0 carbs, 80 calories, 4%. I usually drink a lot. I'm a big whiskey drinker too, but this was in the fridge. I was like, I'll just sip on this for a while.
Why not? You're drinking whiskey. You might break your computer talking about these Cubs.
Yeah, I might get real angry. Start drinking. Yeah.
So you boys been paying attention at all? Is Kyle Hendricks going to be the only guy that gets traded?
No, I'll go first. I don't think. I think what's going to happen. The only guys that the first thing that needs to happen.
At the bottom, the Mets are interested. The Giants are interested, and I think the third team was. Oh, come on. Hurry up, screen. The Blue Jays.
I don't think he'll get traded. They'd have to offer quite a bit. Kyle's kind of been our number one ace the last 2 or 3 years. I think if you're going to see anybody get traded, unfortunately, it's probably Wilson Contreras, but God damn it, pay that man his money.
Yes.
I mean, extend Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ. I don't think Kyle Hendricks is getting traded. I think everybody else besides Kyle Hendricks, Marcus Stroman, Wilson Contreras, and Ian Happ. Outside of that, you could trade every one of them. Maybe keep Nick Madrigal and obviously the Suzuki kid who's been hurt and we haven't even really seen. Other than that, everybody else is up for grabs. Take them.
What about the Morel guy?
Yeah, I like Morel. We can keep him. Yeah, I like him.
He's getting a hot little bat lately.
Yeah, he's probably been our best center fielder, leadoff guy since Dexter Fowler.
And Patrick Wisdom was hot as hell last night against the Reds.
But we can trade him. Trade Winston. He's not a cornerstone first baseman. Trade Frank Schwindel, who's so hot and cold too. You can trade both of those guys. Get some prospects in. And I mean, what are we doing here? I'm already I need to go get the damn whiskey, boys, because I'm already getting fired up.
Here's what I'm worried about with the Cubs. Obviously, 2016 we won it, and you kind of, you get a little bit of leeway then with the fan base, but I'm worried about them kind of regressing into what they had done for so many years. Is they didn't really care about the product because everyone was still packing Wrigley because it was such such an iconic field and everything. People were still going even though they sucked, and that's what I'm worried about now is they've gotten rid of all the core that won the World Series, and now where do they go, and do you really trust what they're doing in the front office? I don't know.
I do trust Henry. I don't trust Ricketts. That's the thing. Ricketts is too busy trying to buy goddamn soccer teams instead of putting money towards the Cubs, the team he already owns. He'd rather go to Europe and buy a soccer team instead of forking over extra money to Javi Baez. Why is Anthony Rizzo playing in a New York Yankee uniform? He should have been a lifelong Cub.
Should have been.
He was the captain, the leader of our team for many years. He was on some bad teams until we built it up. And then he was on some good teams and won the World Series, and there's no reason he should be in a New York Yankee uniform. What they should have been doing is building him a statue as a lifelong Cub and been the greatest. I think that's later down the road, but Anthony Rizzo should still be in a Cub uniform. He should still be making all-stars for the Chicago Cubs. Instead, we're cheap. We couldn't extend him. Now, he didn't get the deal that he wanted even out of the Yankees, but we could have met somewhere in the middle. Instead, Ricketts is too cheap. They're still using that COVID year BS why they didn't pay everybody. Guess what? 32 teams in baseball? Guess what? They all went through the COVID year. It wasn't just the Cubs. And they all managed. The Yankees are still paying people. The Angels are still paying people, folks. The Dodgers are paying everybody still. How come the Cubs are doing that? And we're in the third biggest city in the United States, the third biggest market. We have our own network, and yet we're being cheap asses by not paying anybody. All right, that's it.
You don't have to tell me about being cheap ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My gosh.
Bob Nutting's one of the cheapest owners I've ever seen.
But I trust Henry Henry as far as scouting and bringing in guys. But it's Ricketts and the money. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I would agree. And when you look at, I understand, letting Chris Bryant go. He obviously did not get, what he thought he was going to get. I mean, seeing him with the Rockies has been interesting. But, as far as, players, I mean, Rizzo was someone that you signed. The only thing I can think of is they were trying to do right by him and get him on a winner, which would make a difference, I think, more if he hadn't won the World Series. But Jonathan VR, former Milwaukee Brewer, yes.
Yeah, but I mean that's not really too surprising. He can't hit, so I'm kind of with you. I mean, even in 2016, and you said a couple of these guys are going to go. We're not going to be able to keep everybody. You kind of knew that, like even in 2015, 2016. Yep. Well, all those guys are gone outside of Wilson Contreras now, like of that lineup. You knew back then that kind of Chris Bryant, chances are we weren't going to keep Chris Bryant. Chances were we're going to have to pick two. Everybody circled Anthony Rizzo as the lifelong player. And is it going to be Wilson Contreras and possibly Javi Baez? At that time, even Addison Russell. And then you didn't even have to pay Addison Russell because he ended up his career fizzled out after he was beating his wife and all that. Kyle Schwarber as well. Like, we didn't pay him and we let him walk. We kind of thought that he was going to be like this next great player too. But like Chris Bryant was always that guy in 2015, 2016 that we knew we were never going to continue. Like, he wasn't a lifelong Cub. Mm-hmm. We knew that going in, I feel like, because of who his agent was and how much money he was going to command.
Is his agent Boris?
Yeah. That's all you have to say. I leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we're what happened with the contract situation initially as well. I mean, with being the minors and stuff like that. I mean, that was just kind of mishandled as well.
Yeah, the whole service time, and we probably did do him dirty because I think he probably in 2015 was the third best. Our best third baseman going into camp. I think it was it Ott or somebody like that, or some guy we got from the Rangers, and he got hurt. And I mean, that guy never mounted to anything anyway. You're telling me Chris Bryant wasn't the best third baseman coming into camp, but it was just service time. I mean, every team does it. We manipulated it. It is what it is.
Right. Every team does do that. So you can't really be mad at the club for doing it because they want to keep their star. Sorry, my dog's getting hyper. Sorry. But yeah, like you can't keep every star, so you want to try and keep them as long as possible. So you have to use the loophole to your advantage, obviously. That's the way the outsiders looked at it. I'm sure you guys looked at it a whole different way, like keep him here, don't let him get away, go back down.
Well, I think as a fan, we just kind of knew. Like, we were just ready for him to come up. We just knew. And that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I think, when I think back to my Chicago Cubs fandom, obviously, Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg, there are very few players that I would be like, oh, I can't believe, they traded him, that, this or that. I mean, other than Ryan Sandberg, I mean, he was, Chicago Cubs baseball, and when you look at some of these other players, yes, they won a World Series with the Cubs, Anthony Rizzo would have been the other one. But some of these other players, it's just, it is what it is. And I would rather be one of those teams that tears it down than is just kind of mediocre for a while. Tear it down, then build it back up. That's why I just wonder, who are some of the stars that we are going to really, be who are going to be the tentpole players going forward for the next playoff team, let alone World Series team for the Cubs. I don't know yet, right?
I mean, to me, I can look at, if we got to extend Wilson Contreras, I think he still can be that guy. I would say that they're trying to make that Suzuki guy, the kid that they brought in from Japan. Mm-hmm. I think that Morale kid that was brought up this year, I think, like I said earlier, I think he's been the best center fielder we've had in years. I mean, he's, since Dexter Fowler left. Other than that, I mean, who do you have? I mean, they're trying to make Marcus Stroman. They signed him to a nice deal this in the offseason, but he's struggled so far this year, has not been that guy. They did bring up, it looks like pitching is something that we do have. If these guys can work it out, Keegan Thompson, Steele, and Killian Kid as well. So there's three guys that hopefully maybe can find a way to stick around. At least we're going to see what they're made of. I was talking to my buddy last night. I said, let's just bring up everybody. Like, yes. Whoever our top 10 prospects are, bring them up right now. Like,
why not?
They can't be doing any worse than what we're doing. And let them struggle. Let them get their feet wet. Like, throw them to the deep water and you know what I mean? This season's a lost cause. We're not contending anytime soon. So bring up
just curious, is Iowa doing anything?
No. I mean, most players will tell you that it's usually double A is what you look at, and then maybe they get a taste at triple A, but your triple A is just mainly guys that are going to be coming up, if somebody gets hurt or anything like that.
Like the guy that just came up yesterday. What's his name? Norcisco Crook got called up. Going to take Jason Hayward's place in right field.
Yeah, I mean, that's Hayward's gone. Hopefully soon. There's a lot of people trying to get him to, just be released. I mean, that contract and him it just never worked out. It never worked out.
Just never the same player he was in St. Louis.
No, I mean, absolutely not.
Yeah, not St. Louis and not Atlanta. When he came up with Atlanta, I mean, he was one of the best players, especially best prospect at that point in time. He still got a good slick glove, but he just can't hit worth,
Mm-hmm. And he's been struggling for a while, for a number of years. So
yeah, since we brought him in,
was he batting eighth all of a sudden in your lineup, I believe?
Yeah, I mean, he should be batting 0. He doesn't even need to be in the lineup. That's the thing. That's how bad is. I mean, he's the type of player you should bring in when you have a lead for a nice glove to make some, because he still can throw and he can still catch. He's still got a Gold Glove right fielder, which but he's never been able to hit since he's put on a Cub uniform.
So it's going to be a guy the Pirates pick up next year.
Yeah, exactly.
We try to turn that trash around and make it better. We love garage sale shopping.
Hey, shopping, right?
You never know what you find. Every once in a while, you might find something good at a garage sale, like a Ken Griffey rookie card.
Nick, how far do you think? Honestly, I mean, I'm kind of more on. More hopeful on the Bears side of things, because I think they're going to be doing a little bit better in 2023 because there's some hope there. I kind of joke that 2023 for the Cubs, but how realistically, when you look at this roster, is Ian Happ around when they make the playoffs next?
It depends if they extend him. That's the thing. His contract's coming up,
right?
And you know what I mean? Like that. Same with Wilson Contreras. Either it's extend these two guys or they trade them. You know what I mean? Wilson's going to get a nice haul. He's the best catcher in the National League, arguably the best catcher in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got these young, good pitchers that are coming up, supposedly, you need a guy that's been around and pitched in some caught in some crucial games. So anytime anybody talks about Wilson Contreras on Twitter or anything like that, I just show the GIF of Rounders where it's the guy that just says, "Pay that man his money," because that's exactly what they need to do with Wilson Contreras. Ian, he's finally got it together. It seems like this season is having a good year. He's a perennial all-star caliber, center fielder, good switch hitter. He's finally putting it together. I always thought he was going to be a Ben Zorbist light, like a guy who could play multiple positions for us.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I remember when they brought him up. He was supposed to kind of, be the next, big thing, and it's taken him a little while, but I just don't really see him as the star, right? And when you look at teams that do well, you need players that are going to be the star. If they don't, get Contreras, I don't know where else you go. You've got some of these young players, but that does take time to develop, and even think of box office. You want players that people can kind of latch onto, and Suzuki, that was the big signing, right? But it's just when you look at the roster, it's a big yawn, overall.
It is. There's no. If you're asking me if there's a Javi Baez, somebody to get real excited about, there's not a guy. Other than maybe like Ed Howard, there's Brendan Davis in the farm system. Ed Howard's actually got shut down for the year, but Brendan Davis in our farm system, that would be it. But there's not a guy on the 25-man roster outside of Wilson Contreras that you're like, this guy is going to be the leader and captain of our team going forward. There's not. Ian Happ's a good, I guess, in the NBA, we would say good role player. Just a guy that, not a star, but just a good guy to have in your club and is just a solid baseball player. I don't think Ian's asking for the bank here. I don't see why they can't get a deal done with Ian Happ.
So that was a big loss of Javier Baez, huh? Anytime you lose a shortstop, it's a big one. I feel.
It was a big loss. Yeah, it was absolutely a big loss. Off the field and on the field. I think the loss of Anthony Rizzo was more effective just in the clubhouse and off the field of what he does with his charities and things like that. But people came to the baseball to see Javi Baez play. Yes. That's the thing. There's only a handful of guys in all of baseball where you buy a ticket to see a guy. And Javi Baez is, for better or for worse, was one of them guys.
But did he get worse at the plate though? I mean, yes, he was, flashy on the defense and everything, and flashy when it was good, but he I don't know if he got less disciplined, or I just felt like he regressed at the plate.
Well, he was never disciplined. That's the thing.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, when he came up in like 2015, I mean, it was like 200 strikeouts.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy he's still a strikeout guy. He did have that perennial MVP caliber season. I think it was 2019 was close to his MVP type season. And then they were close to getting a deal done. They said like 3 days away, and then COVID hit, and then they couldn't get the deal done due to COVID when the baseball got shut down. But, I mean, he's a guy who thrives off of the fans and things like that. It was a weird situation to see him go to Detroit in the offseason. I didn't understand that move, but I guess when you get offered the kind of money he was offered, was that even a better offer than what the Cubs were, at 2 years ago? Because the Cubs were very high on him 2 years ago after he's coming off that MVP caliber type season.
And he's kind of, disappointed in Detroit, hasn't he?
I haven't really, to be honest, I haven't looked at his numbers, so I couldn't tell you.
I know he had a good, I think he had a game-winning hit, but I think he struggled as of late. Obviously, if you want to pay someone all that money, you want them to, be disciplined at the plate. You want them to do all those things that it takes, and especially if he's going to be the cornerstone going forward.
Yeah, he'll always be a high strikeout guy. That's just going to be home run and a huge strikeout guy. He's going to make some crazy plays on defense for you.
All right, I'm looking up the Javi Baez stats here overall. All right, so he is
222 right now.
Yeah, he's
11 base on balls, 25 RBIs, 53 hits, 22 runs, 239 at bats. Is that what you got?
Yep.
What'd you say his batting average is right now?
222.
Yeah, that's real low.
Mm-hmm.
2 for 10 about.
What's his power numbers? Home run? How many home runs he got?
I don't have all that breakdown.
So he got 25 RBIs, runs. 53 hits. I'm not. Yeah.
So he's struggling.
That's a struggle.
Yeah. Big time.
It was. I wonder if the whole going to New York as well, that threw him off a little bit as well with his personality. that whole thing of the trying to, I don't know, what was he trying to shush the fans?
Yeah. When they were when they booed him, when he would home run, he would try to shush him. Lindor was part of that as well, and everything else. Like they were hoping Javi would kind of help him and Lindor together with the Mets last year, and just it never happened. Javi's always been a hot and cold hitter. Like, I mean, ever since, he came up in the league, he's just been, when he's hot, there's probably not anybody hotter, but when he's cold, I mean, he's ice.
Javier Baez could play the Pirates 162 games. He'd be one of the best players in the game. He was always lights out against us.
And, so I didn't always look at him as kind of the leader, like when you sign one of those free agent contracts, you expect that, player to come in and be, a leader in the clubhouse. And like thinking back to his Cub days, I don't see him as that. I mean, you talk about being hot and cold at the plate, I mean, and you think of like, players that, kind of keep him, even keel, and that's, Anthony Rizzo. And I guess I don't know, the Tigers roster all that well, but if you don't have another player like that, that's going to kind of keep him in check, and that's going to be an issue. And with the Cubs, that's kind of what I wonder as well. Like, if we don't have those players that are going to, I don't know, be that foundation, where are we going to get them? And maybe, I mean, we talked about Kyle Hendricks getting traded. Maybe that is a good thing, to just completely, tear it down and see what we can get. But,
can it be tore down any more than what it is, though? I mean, last year was the tear down year. Can it be any more tore down?
We could be the Reds. And that's a good question,
I had the
But you know,
Have the
baseball trades are interesting. I mean, what are we going to get for Kyle Hendricks? You know, we're not going to necessarily we wouldn't get someone who was going to help the Cubs next year, right? It would be
No, you're looking at a guy that's going to help you. I mean, that's what all those trades were last year. Was two or three guys that could get you to trade. You know, help you the following. 3 years from now, almost.
But with Cal Hendricks' record this year, how much are you? What are these other teams gonna throw in there at?
Well,
what is he? I think he's 3-6, ain't he?
The thing about Kyle is, I mean, you trust him though. He's pitched in the biggest games in all of baseball. The guy started Game 7 of the 26 World Series. I mean, it should have never been taken out. Was cruising in that series.
Yep.
In that game, closed out. Game 6 for us. He's pitched. He's a big time pitcher. Yep. When the lights are the brightest, that's when Kyle Hendricks shines. He's Greg Maddux-esque as far as like his stuff. He's not gonna blow shit by you. He's gonna paint the corners, and when he's on, he's as good as anybody. He's got to have a little bit of help, and he hasn't had that in Chicago this year. I mean, throw the numbers outside. Any Cub fan will tell you, Kyle Hendricks, when the lights are brighter, he's a guy that you want, and that's what playoff teams want. I mean, whether he goes to the Blue Jays or some other team like that, the Mets. I mean, imagine a rotation if you can run out DeGrom, Scherzer, and then Kyle Hendricks is your 3. I mean, that's a pretty solid 3, maybe the best 3 going in all of baseball if you had with those 3.
And I would think, if one of those teams, took a swing at getting him, I think, the Cubs almost have to do something. I mean, if they're, trying to build their farm system, because I know that was really depleted. I mean, that, obviously the 2016 run, I mean, that, it helped. We got the World Series because, I mean, it sucks if you deplete the farm system and you don't get a title out of it, right?
Yeah, we got the title. The worst trade was when we traded Eloy Jimenez for Jose Quintana, Eloy and Dylan Cease for Jose Quintana, when we could have really used. I mean, we could have used them guys probably maybe not in 2017, but I mean, I would take them today still over. That was the biggest loss on Theo's trade record. Was that trade right there, because we could have used those guys, maybe not in so much 2017, but we sure as shit could have used them in 2018 and 2019. Mm-hmm. Even now, I mean, Eloy right now would still be, a nice, player to have if he could stay healthy.
Yeah,
yes. That seems to be the problem.
Well, this year, I mean, we're talking about the Cubs, but, I look at the division and I'm always, I mean, I figure every, diehard Cub fan would be similar, but as long as the Cardinals don't win it, I'm glad with any other team.
Right. Yeah.
Any other team.
The thing of it is like nobody wants to win the division. I mean, it's a 2-horse race. I mean, it's between the Brewers and the Cardinals. The Cardinals probably have the lineup, but maybe not the pitching, where the Brewers have the pitching, but not quite the lineup. I look to see at the trade deadline, see if both of those teams will try to add to try to win this. But even what they add, I don't think any of them, I don't feel great about any of them telling you that they're the, 3rd or 4th best team in the National League, because I still look at the AL West with the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, and then, we haven't talked the Braves and the Mets in the East. Like all those teams are still better than the Brewers and the Cardinals. So, I mean, they're just going to get in because they won their division, but it's not like I see like World Series, contenders on either one of those teams. Now the Cardinals, I mean, as a lifelong Cub fan, we've seen that book before, where they're sub 500 and then the last 2 months of the season they go on a fucking tear and then win the whole fucking thing every time. I mean, I've seen that I don't know how many times in my life.
So we've seen that book.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's probably what'll happen. Just
you don't have to tell me about that book, especially with Yadier's last year. Didn't he announce he's going to retire?
Yeah, they still got Yachty, Wainwright, and Pujols all together. They got the old band back together.
Right, but didn't they all announce they're going to retire after this year?
They
I
should.
think,
Pujols should.
yeah, I think they Yachty could probably still play. I mean, he's still at least catching wise. I mean, his bat's lost a little bit, but I mean, the mind is still there for Yachty. His body's holding up.
I thought he announced he's retiring at the end of the year.
I think Wainwright did. I feel like Wainwright's been pitching for 30 years.
Every year. You got to look out for that guy for some reason.
Yeah,
but he's adjusted his game over the years, too. He doesn't have that zing that he had when he first started. But, you know, that was just like Maddox and Smoltz both changed during the course of their career, too. They learned that more finding the target was way more important than power eyes, than powering over batters. But that's a whole pitching attitude for a whole nother day. So, what do you think they're gonna move up, stay down? They selling the team?
We're right where we're probably gonna be. I mean, as far as the rankings go in the rest of the year. I mean, I thought at the beginning of the year I probably tried to talk myself in that we'd be third. Maybe if things bounced our way, make a few deadlines, I was like, oh, we can catch a wild card spot. Now, that's just being hopeful in spring training. But, I mean, realistically, we're probably right where I thought we would be. You know, I thought we'd probably finish third because I was like, the Pirates and the Reds suck. But we suck a little bit more than the Pirates right now.
That's hard to say, ain't it?
We suck again.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like with the major league fucking guys, we're still shitty. Like, that's kind of how I feel. So we're probably going to finish fourth, exactly right where we are. I mean, the only reason we're not dead last is because the Reds are running out a AA team and we're running out a AAA team.
Yeah, how many losses did the Reds have? It was just ridiculous to
start. 17? Was it 7? I think 17 or something like that.
That was bad.
Yeah, they were.
Tell you what, though, growing up, I was kind of used to, and Nick, maybe you were this way as well. Fifth place finish. That was, just kind of expected. And so, to be where we're at now, it is hard. I mean, we talked about this offline. It's hard to have hope listening to a game, and Adam, no offense, I don't know how you listen to, Pirates games, right? Like when you go into it, I mean, you want to know that your time is going to be well spent. That the team's going to be competitive, and at this point, it's just really hard to get into a team that is not going to compete in the division, and quite frankly, I know, Nick, you said you trust the front office, and I don't know where they're going right now. I mean, we talked about the, being focused on, Rickus being focused more on the, soccer team, and all that. And it's kind of like, once you win a World Series, let's just kind of, just sit back and I'm glad we can never take that away. I always, watch the video still of when it happened, that last out, and I still get, misty eyed, but it's going to wear off eventually. And you want to see, maybe not another, it would be nice to see another World Series, but at least a competitive team where, they're going to be year in and year out, going to be in the contention for the playoffs, and have some players that you can build on.
Well, if you remember, and that's what when Theo Epstein and Tom Ricketts and they got that team together, they said sustained success is what we're looking for. Like that's what they've said. Well, that was a good 5-year run, and I always like. I mean, 2015 to last year. What's that, like 5 years? 20. That's the best 5-year run in Cub history. I mean, 100%.
Absolutely.
Like, those 5 years for all the bitching and moaning we're doing now. And even last year, like that was the best run in Cubs history. I tell people all the time, it's not really even the 2016 team that's my favorite. It's the 2015 team because that team kind of came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It was so fun to watch. There was no expectations.
Back to the Future did put a lot of expectations on
it. Yeah. Okay, Back to the Future. But, I mean, outside of Back to the Future, there wasn't any expectations. It was just fun
was that Back
ride.
to the Future too?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a fun ride to get on, right? Like, who are these kids? We come out of nowhere, and then Jake Arrieta is pitching the best of any that 2015 season, or better than anybody you've ever seen. I'll take Jake Arrieta's second half 2015 season over any half season of any baseball player, in the history of baseball, damn near.
Mhm.
That 2015 team was so much fun to watch and so young. The 2016 had all the expectations, like we're supposed to be here, we're supposed to do that, and we did it. But it's like those guys did it, and then they just stopped working, and our front office stopped working. There's holes in everybody's game. We were too much home run or bust all the time. And that was some part of the problem with that lineup with those guys was they were all very similar. We never had anybody to set the table and then somebody hit them home. It was strikeout, home run, or and that's it. Like that was it. We didn't have anybody a great, one through 9 to set the table, and then you have your couple guys to hit some home runs and get you in. But the sustained success has just not happened. We didn't, whether it's drafting or signing free agents or whatever it was, our farm system got depleted, and now here we are. But the sustained success that we were promised, I mean, we're 3 years probably away from sniffing the playoffs.
And do we think Ross will be around? Because I mean, yes, it was. I think a good sign at the time, and he knew the players, but I just don't know if he's around the next time the Cubs make the playoffs.
No, I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised if they fired him this year. I mean, will they? Will they? I don't know. I mean, it's not his fault, right? Is it his fault that we suck? I don't really know. I mean, he's just doing what he's supposed to be doing, but he hasn't had great opportunities. But I mean, we fired like Dale Swain. We fired who's the guy that right before they hired Joe Madden?
Oh yeah,
he went to the White Sox
too. Yes.
I can't think.
I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah, fired him. Mike Quaddy was in there, so they fired some guys for less, right? Or you know what I mean, than what David Ross has done, or around the same. So I could see maybe David Ross sticking around one more year, and then he'll probably get fired. Or he might just say, this is it for me. Like, I could see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were surprised. I mean, getting on, the former manager, that Joe Madden was fired. I mean, that was interesting because, like, I think, he was, I don't know, looked at as like really changing the culture of the Cubs and having weird zoos, out on the outfield and all this, and the guru, and this culture guy that had, drank wine and all this. And I don't know, it's such an interesting thing. You got some of these guys are old school baseball that are just, starting
That's what I was just ready to ask you. Do you think analytics got Madden fired?
That could have, but or maybe even
yes and no. It's a little bit of both. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can't even, the other side of town. I can't even, believe that. What's his name still has a job?
Tony La Russa.
I mean, it's just I couldn't believe it. That they hired him to begin with, but he's just really.
They're going to put the White Sox will put Tony La Russa back in the nursing home they found him in.
They need to
after this season. I mean, they've been one of the biggest disappointments.
That was the best thing to watch. Tony La Russa and Lloyd McClendon.
Lloyd McClendon, yes.
Lloyd McClendon, good call, good guy. Old guy digging up first base and taking it with him. Yeah.
Former Cub too.
Yeah.
Did you know them two couldn't even come out and like do the handshake anymore whenever St. Louis came to town?
Really?
They would send out like the hitting coaches they couldn't even. That's how heated that rivalry between those two coaches were.
And you were talking about, it's hard to get up. I said the only team that, and you kind of mentioned earlier, the only team I really get up for is the Cardinals. It may be because I live here in Missouri and all my friends are Cardinal fans. So at least I get like a little bit of, if we can beat the Cardinals, I get a little bit of shit talking to them because like, hey, at least we beat you guys. We might be shitty, but at least we can beat you guys. So like that's the only team I really get up for to watch. And like, if we're going to be shitty, can we just beat them? Like, I just want to beat them and have winning record against the Cardinals if we're going to be this bad and shitty.
That goes back to my whole intro on the whole rivalry thing. you could be having the worst season ever, but you beat your rival, your season's made.
That's every sport, though, right? Like
you got that little bit of fame to go. We beat them.
Like you're a big Bears fan. Like when you guys are always shitty and you guys barely beat us. But I mean, I'm sure when you guys do beat us once every 3-4 years, that's a big. My best friend's a big Bears fan too, so I'm sure that's the big. At least we beat you guys. We beat you. Well, stay at home while we're in the playoffs. But
it's funny because I haven't really gotten up for a Chicago Green Bay game in a while, and it was that game. I mean, the first half for the ages last year, and I was like, "We have a shot." No, we don't.
We still own you game.
Yeah, I still own against Kansas City in the first half too.
No, I don't think it was the only game. It was the night game.
Okay. In Green Bay, yeah.
Yes, where they just the special teams fell apart for the Packers, but yeah, you're right. Something about the rivalry and living here in Wisconsin. Obviously when the Cubs play the Brewers, it's just funny because on Cubs days, and I think I've told you this, Adam. The parking on Cubs days and weekends, the parking at I almost said Miller Park, but it's American Family Field now, is what's it? $10 more expensive to park on Cubs and weekends, and it actually there's a sign that says that, and it's just hilarious, but Cubs fans travel even for crappy teams, so I guess.
What's your thought on that, on Miller or whatever the park? I went to it when it was Miller Park, like I think it was it's a while, probably 2017, and it was like September, and it was the hottest fucking day in September in like Wisconsin history.
Yeah,
and like I absolutely hated the park because it was so hot. Then they do you like after the game, you have to like do the zombie walk. It's like Walking Dead across this bridge into the parking lot. My buddy was about to fight somebody because like they stole our Uber or some shit. It was just all sorts of mess. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've been on the other side. I've driven Uber for that as well. Honestly, it's for a family friendly park, I'm gonna say it is better than Wrigley. I mean, as far as family friendly, man. Not nostalgia. Like I love going to Wrigley, but like any type of parking or getting to Wrigley is just
you can't. No, you gotta
bring. Do we need to bring Chase on for this?
Probably
take the L train in. Take the L train. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you're going across the bridge, and I mean, I try to leave early, then you can get out, but it's a little bit better family friendly wise than some parks. It just doesn't have that nostalgia feel, all that. And actually,
look, you can come to PNC Park and you'll be treated friendly by everyone because we're so used to being so bad.
There's nobody there. That's the thing.
We're so used to,
you're treated by the 5 people that are there.
Even when there's 1,000 people there, it looks like there's about 6 because they're so spread out.
It's interesting. You think of kind of the fan experience and everything, and I mean, we probably all have experiences of when we were kids of the fans, and the Cubs sucked in my childhood, but it was fun going to the ballpark because of Harry Carey, because of some of the characters they had, Ryan Sandberg, Andre Dawson, some of those players, and it's just not necessarily as fun now. Like right now, the main attraction for me to go to a Cubs game is Wrigley, and it's just kind of having that nostalgia, and I took my kids there, and that type of thing. But other than that, it's tough to spend the money, even how much more expensive it is in the bleachers, and you don't even have a guaranteed seat.
And the thing of it is like the outside of Wrigley's changed so much too, to where it's not even like that hometown, like homey feeling almost. Yep. It's more that corporate ass, they changed it to, and Ricketts bought all that and changed it to Wrigleyville almost.
Yep.
So again, if we're doing that, how come we can't pay our players? You know what I mean? If we got our own network and we're doing all this damn remodeling, and you're pretty much pushing out these businesses that have been there, and you're building this like area, where's all that income going to? Like, I mean, I know like there's a lot of cater for salary and things like that, but then don't tell me you don't want to pay the salary tax or whatever it is called in baseball because you're just being too cheap. Luxury tax, that's it. Yep.
Because yeah, I mean, do we sign a big time free agent? Next year. I don't know. I mean, I remember that used to be kind of a thing. When they were contending, we're going to sign somebody or whatever, and I'm not seeing that now. And who would want to come to the Cubs the way they're constructed now?
Yeah, no, I mean we got the Japanese guy that we were convinced to come. I don't.
He's a little older too.
Yeah.
So that's part of it
Isn't
too.
he like 31 already?
I'd have to look. I thought he was like 30 at least. Yeah.
I didn't think he was like a rookie style or rookie.
No. He could still technically be rookie of the year, but I mean he's not going to be because he just hasn't been healthy. But he could have been rookie of the year, even though he's already played, which I kind of find stupid because he's already been playing professional baseball for like the last 8 years or something.
Yeah.
It's been overseas, right?
Yeah.
Nolan Orlando hit for the cycle today.
Oh,
for that. Nice.
Just popped up on my Twitter.
So yeah, I mean, as far as
sit down
with the direction of the Cubs, I mean, and when you look at the free agency, I mean, it really turned around, with John Lester. I mean, that was huge. That was kind of that signing right there. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna do something, and I don't know what player kind of takes that risk on the Cubs. It is one of those flagship franchises, but it not necessarily wins and losses. Like it's just kind of it's one of those teams, that has that old time feel. But
I think especially for what I've always been told is WGN, that was like the day games, and WGN people would get off for work or home from school. And what would be on the only channel they got was WGN, and then there's the Cubs on the day games on WGN.
Yep.
And now that's gone. You have to pay for the marquee network, but WGN back in the day was pretty much on your standard ass cable or local shit, and everybody could go home after school, or you're staying home from school,
Ferris.
Yeah, and then you catch a nice good Cubs game middle of the day, and then it just kind of become your team, and you don't realize how crappy they are.
That's what I was saying with Andy last time. I would get home from school, and because they started at 1 o'clock your time, I was done school at 2:20. So I might miss the first inning or two, but I could put it on at around 3 o'clock whenever I got home and watch the Pirates play, and they wouldn't miss out on maybe an inning or two, but. There was no real internet as quick as it was back then, but
and that's an interesting conversation as well. I've heard you talking about getting younger fans and stuff. The cool thing about what they do here at American Family Field, both my kids are in baseball programmers kids, and we have a full day for our league where all the teams play at the field that's right outside of American Family Field. I believe it was the old county stadium is the home plate that they use, so it's right there. So it's kind of cool. It's something that they do that they're so close to the major leagues and stuff like that. But you think of getting younger fans, Cub wise, you don't have that. I mean, as far as players to latch onto, or even when the Cubs stunk, they had Sean Dunston, and I think I put that on Twitter.
Did. I just saw it. Was
whether Sean Dunston is the greatest?
It's all about how you build them lineups, Mr. Outdated.
Tell you what, I mean that he was one of my favorite players, just because he was all wild and you didn't know what was going to happen, but it was a team you could root for. And obviously we're not a kid, but I want to be able to root for the team now. It's hard to kind of get into it. I mean, I'm a Cubs fan through and through, but it's hard to kind of really see where it's going.
So you feel there's no direction right now?
I'm sure there's a direction. I mean, it's just,
As a fan, it's hard to pick up on. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, yeah, and Nick, I think you're probably this way too. Like I think when you look at a rival, the Cardinals. I mean, the Brewers are kind of. I mean, they're a rival because they're a newer rival, but they haven't broken through.
I always tell people it seems like the Cardinals, like they have a direction, but it seems like they could go pick up, like, remember like Carlos Beltran, like he was left for dead. People thought he was a left for dead guy, and then the Cardinals just go pick him up, and then he just has like 3 career years, and it's like, holy shit, Carlos Beltran's back. Like, I'm like, it's like guys go to the Cardinals and they add on and they just have these career years. And then once they leave the Cardinals, it's like you never hear from them again. And you're just like this Miles Michaelis. I mean, the guy is a journeyman pitcher, but God damn it, when he pitches against us, he's freaking Roger Clemens out there every freaking time. I swear. I mean, it's just wild deal. Like their stuff, the Cardinals just don't miss, where I feel like the Cubs miss 9 out of 10 times. Now, I thought that was changing with Theo, where like we were hitting on like John Lester, like that was a hit. Jason Hayward was a miss, but we've hit on some other guys and made some nice, deals. It's funny because like Mark Appel was just made his major league debut, and he was the number 1 pick for the Houston Astros the year that we took Chris Bryant as the number 2 overall pick. I said 9 out of 10 times my entire life, they take Chris Bryant and we get Mark Appel, and then that just washes away and then we just suck continuously. But we got lucky. Theo made a deal with the devil, or he's the devil himself is what I like to say, because he broke the Boston curse and it broke our curse. So I don't know what deal he made, but now I'm just fearful because now that he's gone, I know I said I trust Jed Hoyer, which I somewhat do, but Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you talked about how the Astros missed on Mark Appel as the number 1 overall pick, and still, and there's a lot that went into that, but still they won a World Series. Still, they've been in contention, and I think I'd like to see the Cubs miss less, and I don't know. I mean, what are they doing, with scouting and all of that? And
well, here's the thing: is how come we can't be the Astros? The Astros lost half of their stars from their World Series teams. They just lost their, Carlos Correa. They've lost Garrett Cole a time or two. How come the Cubs cannot do what they're doing? They have sustained success, cheating and all aside. You know what I mean? But they were still good, even though they were cheating. But that should have been the Cubs. Like, you know what I mean? How come we're not sustaining that success and still having that, next guy up? We're not continuing to be successful. We're running like we're the freaking Kansas City Royals.
Yes.
Where we had a good 2-year team with a bunch of young guys, and then we had to trade them all because we can't afford anybody. Like we're the Tampa Bay Rays or something like that. It's like we don't realize who we are, where we play, and the money that we bring in.
Well, and just the fact that Carlos Correa signed with the Twins. I mean, could that not have happened? Long-term deal, throw a ton of money at him. Number 1, I mean, the Cubs certainly have something, right? And number 2, I mean, that's box office draw. That's even draw. I mean, you think of, NBA, we're in NBA free agency and all that, and, and having, players be attracted to certain teams. And, players are smart nowadays. It's not just about, the name on the jersey, the Yankees, maybe, but they look at the roster, does this team have what it takes to contend? And any free agent looking at the Cubs would have to say no at almost every position, and that's a problem overall. I mean, I want, that free agents to at least consider and say, yes, this can be a destination, and let's, be the next great Cubs dynasty.
Well, that's the thing. You mentioned John Lester earlier. Like when he came, that was the sign, right? Like, man, we can get guys. We convinced the guy, John Lester, at that time was the hottest, number 1 pitcher on the market. And I think Jason Hayward came at that same time as well. And he was like, all things purposes. But when he came, he was the number one outfielder, maybe number one hitter in that free agency class, and we were able to get both of those guys. We got Yu Darvish at one time as well. There was a time where we were spending a little bit of money and getting guys because they believed here and they wanted to either be the first team or the next team to do so. I mean, the thing of it is like we pack out Wrigley. Fans pack out Wrigley whether they're first or last.
Yep.
But then we also showed, we showed Chicago what happens when we won in 2016. They had the biggest parade in Guinness World Record, like the most people to ever show a parade.
It was bigger than the Cleveland, the Cavaliers parade.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
really? Absolutely. The biggest parade in Guinness World Record book is still the 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series parade.
And I think is the lowest. Is that the Rams one?
Probably some WNBA stuff, I think, maybe. But yeah, I mean, so like we've shown that we're going to support this team. We've shown time and time out. If you just spend the money and you get guys and put a quality product on the field, we're going to be there.
You don't have to tell me that. I mean, I can't really even Chase just emailed me and said, "Are you watching this game?" And I was like, "No, what's going on?" And he hasn't gotten back to me. So the Brewers must be kicking our ass tonight. Pirates. I'm not sure. I'm not watching it. I didn't even look at it, but Chase just asked me if I was watching it.
Should I look at it for you? Oh gosh.
Is it bad?
17-1.
That's a football score right there.
Yeah.
What is it?
17-1.
Well, the Pirates did beat them last night.
Well, and that was the Brewers were worried about their offense. There you go.
17-1.
And it's on the bottom of the 8th right now, so they still got time.
All right, so this nightmare's almost over. So Daniel Vogelsong might be pitching, or I don't even know, like Vogelback, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, Big Dan. He was a Cub prospect for a while.
Yeah,
was he?
Yeah.
You didn't miss out on much.
No. Yeah, he played with the Brewers briefly as well.
Seattle.
Yeah. Seattle. See, we traded him to Seattle at one point. Like that's kind of where we sent him to.
Yeah, that's where we got him back from.
And I don't know. It's a long season, with the Cubs, and it's nice to see them beat, some teams here and there. I mean, when you look at teams, Wrigley, I almost would obviously I look at schedule works, but you look at teams that they would want to face it and or that you want to go watch as opposed to the Cubs at this point. Like I would have gone to see the Red Sox. I mean that's just a team that I'd love to see.
Go tomorrow.
And it's funny because I'm going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and all that next week and stuff.
Yes, you are.
The good old Pirates are going to be in town here in Milwaukee that following weekend, and that's not a team that I would buy a ticket to.
I can't blame you.
But that's where the Cubs are at now. I mean, the Cubs are almost it's just a name. You're not if it's Reds Cubs that that almost gets you sick in your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I went. I think it was last year or the year before. Maybe it had to be last year. We went to a Brewers Diamondbacks game, and before the game, we were on the side, playing catch with one of the Diamondbacks players, and I was quick trying to Google the name, and I didn't know any of the names of the Diamondback players. It was just ridiculous. And I know some players, but like none of the players. And I was like, okay, and I think he was hurt.
He was
the only person I could think of that plays for the Diamondbacks, just quick off my top of my head, is Madison Bumgarner, right? Is he still?
He does pitch for him right now, yes.
But he was hurt also. He was hurt that game as well. And so it's like he wasn't even out there. It was like all these like AAA guys and that's what the Cubs have become. But if they need to become that to become something great, then do it. But just do it full. Like seriously, just like go like all at it 100%. So yeah, maybe I am all in on trading good old Kyle Hendricks if it will bring some prospects. I don't know.
The funny thing is, I can name more Cubs than I can Pirates, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Because I do DFS, and
Yeah.
everyone's always like pick Wisdom, pick Morel, pick and Contreras has been one of the hottest catchers to pick on DFS for almost the past week. And even his brother, is that his brother that plays in Atlanta?
Yeah. That's his
I
brother.
got him confused one day, and it totally cost me. So, but yeah, I can name more off of the Cubs than I can the Pirates, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
I know you talked about our like the greatest Cubs. You want us to give our greatest Cubs lineup?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me. I had to make it today at work because I forgot to make it last night, so mine's really just written on a piece of work paper. So that's the way I am. But I'm gonna write you guys down in the notebook so I have it.
All right.
Now, last time me and Andy did our Cubs talk, he's the one that told me I need to do something more on the show than what we were doing. So Andy helped me with direction on this part. Like he just said you need to do more, and I was like all-time lineup.
You got
for
it.
the
You
team.
got it.
So that was just something I followed up with him, and me and Andy, me and Aldate have been friends for a while. We talk, might even see each other next Thursday?
Yeah, Pro
Wednesday.
Football Hall of Fame.
I might be going. I'm not sure. I'm not putting a stamp on it yet, but I did put in for it.
We'll be there.
So, all right. So Boykins. I'm doing old school shit here. I'm writing shit down, pen and paper.
So Nick, you have a little bit of caveat on your team. You said, right?
Yeah. So I know we're doing all time, but I've never seen. I'm just doing the last 35 years, guys. That's how old I am. So I just want to do what my eyes, these two eyes have seen.
That's what makes you
because I never saw Ryan Santo play. I know the numbers are there. I never saw Ernie Banks, and I know Ernie Banks is Mr. Cub himself, but I never saw him play. I never saw Fergie Jenkins pitch. So I was going to go with what these two eyes have seen. Technically, I feel like I could always list just the 2016 starting lineup because that's the team in Game 7 because that's the team that got it done for me. One time somebody asked me what the greatest baseball team ever was. I said I listed all those 9 guys because that's just the team that will always hold special to me. I'm just going to do the last 35 years who I've seen. I'm not going to, I never saw Sweet Swing and Billy Williams play. So we'll go. I'm just going to go. My caveat here is I'm going to just do who I've seen play because that's who I can tell you.
I went off of stats. I have a feeling whenever I do Pirates, it's going to be who I saw play, just like you're doing with this.
Yeah. I could almost do every team like that just because I like to do stuff like that because I can't tell you. I can only read stats and see highlights. I can't tell you. So when I tell people, I say like my lifetime, this person's the best in my lifetime that I've seen because that's just, I don't like to do, past previous because that's a whole different generation that, that I've never seen play.
It's interesting because you can go on stats and everything. And I found a website, sportsdoodleblog.com, and it actually does the franchise wins above replacement. And that's kind of an interesting stat. But I'll probably add that into talking, especially when I bring up good old Mordecai Brown when I was alive for that guy. So,
all right, I went Gabby Hornett at catcher. I think you went for him with the Cubs and Brewers mix. Did you not? My notebook's in the car, so I can't go back and look it up.
I did, and really, I mean, this will be really interesting to see what you go with, Nick, because really, well, I could probably guess what you're going to go with if you're thinking recently, but all time, I mean, I think of, even when I grew up, it was Jody Davis, or Joe Girardi, You know, I mean,
Yeah,
holy
yeah,
cow,
Joe Girardi, yeah.
you know, and you talk about those players and I mean Gabby Hartnett. I don't really know much about his game, but
I don't,
you
me
know,
neither.
even looking at the wins above replacement, it's 55.0. I'm not going to tell you what that means because I have no idea, but it's the top of the best catchers of the Cubs all time. So
Yeah, so like I said, I'm doing my caveats the last 35 years. So like, you know, you could look at Barrett for a while. He was there for a while. You know, was part of some good Cubs teams in that 07, 08 run, you know, 08 runs. But I mean, it's Wilson Contreras. I mean, that's the guy. You know what he's done the last, you know, since he's been called up. This guy wasn't even like, the crazy thing about Wilson Contreras and why I love Willie is like he wasn't that prospect that everybody talked about. Everybody knew who Chris Bryant was. Everybody knew in the Cub system who Javi Baez was. They even knew who Albert Almora Jr. was. But what the guy that nobody talked about was Wilson Contreras, which means nobody was high on him. He wasn't touted very high. He was makeshift catcher. They didn't even draft him to be the catcher. Makeshift catcher, put in the work, put in the time, and it's become, in my lifetime, the best Cubs catcher of all time.
And when he came up, it was I mean, he came up with a force. I mean, he was just amazing.
His bat's always been there, and his glove work is now there. Like, you know what I mean? Now he knows how to call a game. And that's with any young catcher. Most young catchers don't know how to call a game or how to catch. You know, Yadi Molina comes to mind as we talked about Yadi earlier. It's a guy that's just always had it with the glove.
That man can call a game.
Yes. But I mean, when you come from like a lifelong of family of like, you know, your brothers and himself and, you know, everybody that can catch and he can call a game, Willie's now gotten there. So again, I'm going to go with Wilson Contreras as my catcher.
I definitely can't fault you for that. I mean, I would agree. I mean, players that we've seen, that's he's definitely there. I mean, I'm pretty boring. I'll probably just stick with Gabby Hartnett. I mean, all-time players. I mean, mainly too, when you think about it, I mean, some of these players, you know, they played in a different era, and you know, kind of just you're remembering how, you know, how good some of these players were in that different era.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Mark Grace at first.
Ooh. Wins above replacement, which I know you guys want to know. He's at 44.2. And I'll say,
when did you become Mr. Analytic?
When I found this website. You know, Mark Grace, he always seemed to come up with a clutch hit. You know, I just remember him like having a clutch hit. It's hard to pick him over Anthony Rizzo for what Rizzo means to the franchise, because Mark Grace, I think
I went Rizzo on the Brewers one, didn't I? I think I did.
I think so.
And I went Jonathan Lucroy as my catcher.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to go with Rizzo on this one. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I just pulled up Rizzo stats. 10 years as a Cub. He's got 708. Was it? Oh, sorry. Yeah, 242 home runs, 784 RBIs. And then you're the wins above replacement, wins above his WAR for the Cubs. Can I interest you in 36.7?
Yep. Right behind Mark
for
Grace,
Mr. Anthony, for Anthony Rizzo, huh?
Right behind Mark Grace, though.
Yeah, but I just think what he meant to the team. You know what I mean? Was Mark Grace ever really the best baseball player on his own team? I mean, he was next to Ryan Sandberg, and then he's next to Sammy Sosa at times. You know what I mean? So I'm going to stick with Anthony Rizzo. You know
who could have been the all-time first baseman for the Cubs? Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah. Had he left, I mean, people forget Ernie Banks played first base for a while.
That's true. I think we did. Yes, we on the Brewers Cubs one, and we went back and forth on Ernie Banks.
What position he
different
would play?
position.
Outfield,
Yeah.
second base, short. He played basically everywhere.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his career, though, he played third. He played first base. So, but I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo. I mean, if you wanted to make a case for Derek Lee and what he did in his short, brief stint, that's another guy you could make a case for, because what he did in his, I think, 4 or 5 years was just incredible. But I mean, Anthony Rizzo, 10 years as a Cub, and everything. That's the reason I'm sticking with Rizzo. But you can make a case for Mark Grace, Derek. I think Derek Lee's got to be right there in his short stint. It's just Grace and Rizzo did it longer.
And had the Cubs made the World Series with that Bartman, without that whole incident, had they made the World Series, I think Derek Lee might have been seen a little bit.
Derek Lee was on the 07 teams, the later teams, not that 03 team.
Oh,
he was on.
He was. Who was the who was the first baseman?
Eric Karros and Randall Simon.
Oh, that's right. Derek Lee was maybe Derek Lee was on the Marlins.
Yeah, he was.
Just another guy you got from the Pirates, Randall Simon.
Randall Simon. Yeah, Randall Simon.
The sausage
king. Yeah, yeah. That was a big trade, because when we get to third baseman, there's a teaser for you. Who my all-time Cubs third baseman that I've seen.
So, so second base is easy, right?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Ryan Sandberg, right? I mean,
yep, Rhino.
Yeah,
68.1 wins above placement. Once again, I have no idea what that means, but we'll go with it.
So that means what WAR means. Wins above placement is that guy is, it takes 16 wins for the next guy to equal that, right? Is that? I mean, that's what WAR is kind of what that means, right? Or like.
And so I wondered what all goes into it.
I don't know how they calculate that stat. I just kind of know what it means.
Okay. So third base, huh?
So who you got at shortstop then? I mean, if we're going to go around the diamond here.
Oh, shortstop.
I struggled with this one because I don't necessarily know. I don't, and not in like a lifetime. I mean, you said Sean Dunston, and that kind of brought, he
was just fun to watch. I mean, he was wild.
Javi Baez before Javi Baez.
Exactly, he was. But I mean, it's just and I didn't see him play, but it's hard not to put Ernie Banks somewhere on the team and just kind of trust all the numbers and trust what he meant to the franchise when they really did suck, right?
I had Ernie Banks too. Well,
I mean, so they.
Is that where you're going?
I'm going Ernie Banks. Who are you going for shortstop?
I went Ernie Banks.
Man, so again, I'm trying to use just my lifetime, and I didn't really. That's been a revolving door. We've had some, Addison Russell had a couple good years.
Supposed to be so good.
Yeah. And I remember when they gave out the trophy, they said he was going to be a future MVP. And I thought that at one time they were talking about who should we trade or keep, Javi Baez or Addison Russell. I was on the keep Addison Russell train, which I was dead wrong. I'll always admit when I'm wrong and I always tell you when I'm right too. So, I was dead wrong on that one. And I guess I would have to say, I mean, Sean Dunston's but like right at the end of right around. I mean, if you want to make a case for Javi Baez, but I mean, that's just been a revolving door of guys there at shortstop for us. So I'm gonna say I'll say Sean Dunston now.
Wow! All right, so that my Twitter thing became true.
There it is. You can tag Boykin in that.
Yeah.
I think you put it in the group, didn't you?
I think I did. I shared it. I did. Yeah. I don't know if I tagged you though, Nick.
All right. Yeah. So third baseman, because I left the teaser. I'll start the third baseman. Here's we talked about the Randall Simon, the guy we got in that trade. Aramis Ramirez is the best Cubs third baseman I've seen in my 35 years. And
wow,
because people are going to say Chris Bryant, here's the thing. Chris Bryant played 7 years. Aramis Ramirez played 9 years. But Aramis Ramirez, can I interest you in over 1,200 hits, 200 over 200 home runs? His WAR 24.1. Now KB's is just a little bit higher. Ramirez had 506 RBIs. He was a 3-time All-Star with the Cubs. Where KB 7 years, he only had 160 home runs, 465 RBIs. Oh, and his batting average, or his WAR was a little bit higher, but Ramirez had 294 batting average, where KB only had 279. So I'm going to give it to Aramis Ramirez as the best Cubs third baseman I've seen in 35 years.
I feel like you're just kind of sticking that to Adam too a little bit.
Aramis didn't. He never.
He was not. He was not. When we traded for him, he was not what we thought. He was not what he turned out to be.
He did.
You know,
he hated it here.
Well, I mean, doesn't everybody?
Bob Nutting must love it. I mean, I remember when the Cuban tried to buy them, Lemieux tried to buy them. Everyone shut them down.
Yeah, I found another Bleacher Report, had third baseman, and yeah, actually they have him ranked number 2 here, and of course this is a little while ago, but right behind Ron Santo, and
that's who I went with. Yeah,
I mean Ron Santo. I mean, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Nick, because it is tough to kind of look at some of these players that we haven't seen, and it's just kind of you kind of assume, but. Yeah, I forgot how good Aramis Ramirez was.
He was Wild Thing in Pittsburgh. I hate to say
he was so he was just underrated, right? Because he was.
Yeah.
We traded for him on that 03 team, and that team was all about pitching and Sammy Sosa, and then he was on those 07, 08 teams, and those teams had other guys as well, So
Ramirez hit the big 2-run shot, didn't he? That beat the Brewers in Milwaukee. I don't have my folder on me. Sorry, guys. It's in the car because I took it to work because I realized I didn't have my lineup done, and then I forgot it in the car.
Oh, I just made me think of who was that? One of the all-time best. He was a Yankee, and then Soriano.
Alfonso
Soriano. He's definitely on the
he's my third
list.
He's one of my outfielders.
Really?
Yeah, same.
Really?
Wow. If we kick it to left field, I have Alfonso Soriano as the best left fielder I've seen for the Cubs in 35 years. Again, it's been a revolving door. The thing about the Cubs is they just haven't had so many guys that you line up every day. Right. So where you're that's the guy for the last couple of years. But Alfonso Soriano, his 7 years with the Cubs, again, 526 RBIs, 181 home runs, 70 stolen bases. He batted 264. His WAR, it's not that great, but it was only 8.2. But he was on some bad teams sometimes that they're at the Cubs, especially towards the end. But I like Alfonso Soriano as the best left fielder. I mean, the next best guy might have been Kyle Schwarber, and he just wasn't there long enough.
No. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess when I think of Alfonso Soriano, I just think of so much potential and just flaming out and just just his weird hitting and just I don't know. He just didn't seem to show up. So it's hard for me to put him on this list. I just, and if you kind of look at left, center, and right, maybe that's different. I was kind of looking at it as all the 3 outfielders and just the 3.
Okay. I looked at it left field, center field, right field. And I still couldn't tell you a center fielder. I don't have one. A legit, a guy that in 35 years where I was I was thinking somebody, but I have Soriano as just as I was doing left, center, right. So he was our primary
Yeah,
left fielder, so that's the guy I picked.
Yeah. Here's the problem, though. Then, yeah, I mean, if you're just going to do that, in my opinion, and maybe we'll get to this later, who the right field. That'll be interesting because then you might leave someone out. But yeah. So I've got 3 outfielders, but who do you have as center?
I don't have.
So you don't have one.
I could not really think of one or like really get deep at like just somebody that just would like came into center field. I mean, like the first person I thought of was Kenny Lofton, but then I guess like, so I just resorted back to the 26 team, and the guy that got it done was Dexter Fowler. I mean, it was 2 years, which just wasn't, you know what I mean? But those were great 2 years for Dex. But I mean, again, that's just been a position that we just never had where you penciled in that guy for 5-6 years at center field as to be that guy. So
how do you not love Kenny Lofton though?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had like Juan Pierre for like a year or two.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of ran out who's who at center field.
I forgot who I should have put as left fielder. Moises Alou.
Yeah, and that was a guy I thought it was Soriano or Alou, really for me. I mean, I thought of Alou too, but I went with Soriano just because the longevity. You said when you think about Soriano and his potential, I think of Soriano just always swinging at that outside pitch every freaking time. It didn't matter if it was 10 feet off the plate, if it was outside, low and away, he was swinging.
And wasn't he a second baseman for a while too? I thought I remember
shortstop with the Yankees, second baseman and short. Yeah, second baseman. Then
was he second base with the Cubs too, or did they not?
No. The Cubs made him an outfielder. He was solely an outfielder with the Cubs.
Okay, yeah. So I'm really curious then who you have. So you didn't do. You probably did 2 right fielders then.
Who did you have in center?
I didn't really have.
Oh, you want? I put Fowler down for you.
Yeah. Right field, I have Sammy Sosa.
So who you didn't? Oh, so you just had 2 outfielders?
3. I have Soriano at left. I have Dexter at center. I went with Dexter at center is what I settled with, and I went. I went with. You're going to say Andre Dawson.
Oh, of course, he's my all-time favorite player.
But I have to go. I'm going with Sammy Sosa as my right fielder. Because I went left, right. I went left, center. As the position they played.
But just going on right. So the case for Dawson versus Sosa. I mean, when you look at Dawson, primarily, obviously, an expo, coming up. But what he meant to those teams and kind of helping to turn them into, a playoff team. And, I think that's huge. Sosa. I think that can be the debate as far as, the inflation, in all of that stuff and what he did with the bat,
I just think you just said it though, what Sosa meant to those teams that, especially outside of the 98 team, when he had those 460 home run seasons, that man packed it. Wrigley was packed and they were there to see one guy, and his name was
packed wherever they played.
Yes, was slamming Sammy Sosa. I mean, he was the guy for all his craziness and all the roids and everything else. But everybody else at the time was doing the same stuff. That's why I say Sammy Sosa. And I'm a firm believer that all those guys should be into the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
That might be a difference.
You do, how hard it is to hit a damn baseball.
Exactly.
Here's my question though: Are we saying? Just offensive numbers or all around? Because when you look at defense,
Dawson's the better defender. Yes, I'll get that. I just think what Sammy meant to the city of Chicago, the baseball in general, and everything else. And I mean, all the numbers he put up, he's to me is the best right fielder we have. I mean, if I'd have known, I had to pick 3 outfielders, I probably would have thrown out Andrew, or I'd have thrown Hawk out there. But I went position by position.
Yeah.
I thought I wrote outfield.
You might have. My brain just says left, center, right. So
I can definitely see that case for Sosa, and maybe it's part of the growing up with Dawson.
Yeah,
And
I think you're probably a couple years, probably about 10 years older than me. It sounds like just the way you're.
Yep.
With the, you know what I mean. So I grew up like a young teen, young kid. My first ball game, my mom took me to was '98, and it was the Pirates and the Cubs. I think so I was 11 years old at that time. And Sammy Sosa hit a home run. Hal McRae Jr. was on that team, hit a home run. I actually have Fergie Jenkins was the Cubs pitching coach, and I have Fergie Jenkins's autograph on a Cubs hat. I didn't even know who the Fergie Jenkins was at that time, and luckily I grew up to realize, holy shit, I have a Hall of Famer's autograph.
Yeah.
That's funny how you look back and even some of your baseball cards, you're like, oh wait, this guy's in the Hall now.
Yeah.
If you still have them, I mean.
Yeah. So how many pitchers are we doing?
Just one. So
one. Oh, okay. I could have done a whole rotation probably.
Yeah, I'm sure we could have, but then we would have been there forever.
Ooh, okay.
So I was going off a 1 day lineup. I guess a 1 day, one all-time lineup.
Okay, so who are you going to want?
Who were your outfilders? Outdated. You got the Hawk.
Yeah, in outfielders, and I would be I have to put in Billy Williams. I had
Billy Williams too.
So Billy Williams, Sammy Sosa, and Andre Dawson. Those are the
that's why I like doing the last 35 years, because like every Cub fan's going to tell you Ron Santo, every Cub fan's going to tell you Ernie Banks, and every Cub fan's going to tell you sweet swinging Billy Williams. But I mean, not many of them have seen them play anymore. They're just, that's just tradition. So I tried to make it harder for myself. That's why
But we forgot one. We went off today's lineup. We got a DH.
Well, then I'll take Andre Dawson as my DH, or I'll take Andre Dawson as my right fielder, and then I'll put Sammy Sosa as my DH if you're going to let me sneak that in.
There you go.
Who are you going to roll with there, Mr. Outdated?
Oh, I'm going to go with Aramis.
I went with Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
So who are your three outfielders you had?
I had Billy Williams, Soriano, and Sosa.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, it's tough, for me to think of Soriano, because it was so much potential. Like it was like
and we signed him to a huge contract, and everything else. Yeah, no, I get it. There's a lot of hate for Alfonso Soriano as a Cub fan, but
yeah. I almost put Felix PA up there as well. So
yeah, there's another guy. That's my pitcher comes down, man. So my pitcher, I love Kerry Wood. Always have. I had a Kerry Wood jersey, but I had a Kerry Wood jersey as a kid. It's my first baseball jersey. It's my second jersey overall. That Reggie White jersey that hangs behind me is my very first jersey I ever owned. And then I had a Kerry Wood jersey, but I'm going to go with Greg Maddux. Mm-hmm. Greg Maddux to this day is my favorite pitcher of all time. Mm-hmm. Of somebody that I just absolutely love. I mean, they're complete opposites ends, right? Like Kerry's going to blow that smoke behind you, and Greg's going to paint the corners, and he's going to. I read this book once, and it was based off of it was the 2004 Cubs, the year after we were supposed to win the World Series and we just collapsed. And there was a chapter about Greg Maddux in there, and the pitcher come out. There's like 2 runners on, and Greg, no outs, and Greg's like, "Don't worry." He told the pitching coach, "Don't worry. I'm going to get this guy to hit into second base. We're going to get a double play, and then the next guy is going to pop out to the catcher." And sure as shit, the next 2 pitches, Greg Maddux does exactly what he says. And after that, I was just like, this guy is a genius because he doesn't have to blow smoke. So my pitcher will be Greg Maddux. And he had 2 stints with the Cubs that were pretty freaking good, so won his first Cy Young as a Cub. So I'm going to say Greg Maddux.
And I was going to say Greg Maddux, and yeah, he's probably one of my all-time favorite Cubs other than Andre Dawson. But I'm going to have to go just be a different, and I'm going to go with an underappreciated Cubs pitcher from probably before your time, Nick, Rick Sutcliffe.
Oh yeah. I know. I mean, it was a little bit before my time, but yeah, I know Rick. Game was the Padres, Game 5. The Padres started that series, and
just the way he threw was, two kind of ball kind of. It was just, he was kind of the big game pitcher then. I mean, it is really tough to pick one pitcher. Kerry Wood, Ryan Dempster had kind of a way about him too, for that team. And you think of some of those, and I forgot it was 03. You think of some of those players, pitchers, whatever from that team. How much higher would we think of them if they had made the World Series? That's a huge part of this. 2016, the Cubs winning the World Series, that's a big thing that elevates them in the conversation. If they're not making that move to get to the World Series and win it, they might not be on this list. They might not be, Rizzo, I think still would be, but some of these other players, maybe not.
You're right. You're exactly right. Yeah. No, winning the World Series, like where would like Carlos Zambrano, a couple of those guys been, if they had won because Carlos Big Z had a good run there for a while with the Cubs. And
we didn't bring up Jake Arrieta. He had, it was like 3 years. It was just amazing.
His second half of 2015 and all the way to the first half of 2016 is probably the arguably best run in baseball history. I said that earlier. And I love Jake Arrieta, but if you could tell me I could have Jake Arrieta 2015 on my one day, I would take him, but I'll take Greg Maddux as the whole,
Yeah, if we would have went like full rotation, it'd be way too long.
Okay, so we don't get honorable mention for like a closer or anything.
Yeah, we get a closer.
All right.
I went with Mordecai Brown.
Good old Mordecai Brown.
I did.
I'm down with that. What about you, Nick?
I'm gonna go Rod Beck.
Yes.
Yeah, 50 save guy. I think that's got to be right. It's one of he's number one,
right? Or
the
beard.
Yeah, a mustache, his arm dangled down like here a little bit.
Yeah.
Rod Beck is who I'm gonna pick. He's a guy that just was short tenured time with his Cubs, but when he was with us was good. I think a single season is right up there as far as like most saves in a single season for franchise history.
I thought Bruce Sutter was the leader.
I believe Bruce Sutter is, yeah.
Yeah. Rod Beck's just right around there.
So, that's who I went with, Bruce Sutter as my closer.
So this one is tough for me. You said Bruce Sutter?
Yeah, you like Lee.
So I went before. I think Lee Smith is going to be my guy here, but just because the afro, just everything what he meant to those Cubs teams, it's tough not to go with Mitch Williams and just what he meant to those teams as well, but you just didn't know what you were going to get with him.
The wild thing.
Yeah, and he was fun to watch, but at least Smith would be my guy there. Yeah, exactly.
So you're going with Wild Thing or what?
I'll go with Lee Smith on that one.
Yeah, I like Lee Smith. I always think of Lee Smith too as a Cardinal, so I just have a hard time.
Yeah, I see that.
Picking him as well. So,
I understand your thoughts completely. All right,
guys. Yeah, I like Rod Beck as
yeah, he was fun.
All right.
I guess you could say for one game you'd almost want Aroldis Chapman and that 100-mile, that smoke that he can bring, but he just wasn't. He was a Cub, but wasn't a Cub, right? Like he had that second half season, and then really Joe Maddox kind of just wore his ass down there in the postseason when we didn't need to at times.
Agreed. Yeah, he almost lost it. Yep.
Oh, the Indians were my favorite AL team. You got to have one of each. Yeah, you guys are sitting here dealing with a Pirate fan and an Indians fan. So,
What fan? You mean a Guardians fan?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the Indians aren't around anymore. I don't know that team.
Yeah, neither is I call it the Jake still. It's always gonna be the Jake. It's never gonna be Progressive Field. It's so awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah, that series was heartbreaking for the other side of you guys.
Oh, absolutely. I can totally see that.
Like, it's just like
They got their championship later in the summer. Was it the summer or they already had it? I guess it would have been the summer, huh? Because that's when was it 2016 when LeBron won the World Series or NBA Finals? Or was that 2017?
It would have been a big thing for Cleveland that year.
Yeah.
They got theirs.
The million man parade. They got beat out apparently by you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Was that competition? You think they purposely did it to beat Cleveland?
No, they just did it because it was never been done before.
I imagine. I don't. I didn't really watch any of the parades or anything you guys had. Mm-hmm. So coming from the other side of it, it's always hard to watch when you're
glorious.
That 16 outs.
Yeah.
That was it. Couldn't get it. Well, boys, it's been fun. Glad we had a couple drinks tonight. And
can we hold hands and sing "Go Cubs Go"?
If you guys want to, go ahead. I'm not going to. There's too much rival in me.
I get it.
And you guys probably know it way better than I do anyway. I would hope so. But yeah, it's been fun, guys. Maybe we'll come back and do it again when the Cubs. Hopefully, maybe you never know. Maybe they'll finish in second. Maybe they'll beat the Cardinals and take second place. Or who knows? Maybe they'll be playing at the end of the season and knock the Brewers out of the first place.
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
Or are they going to be like the Pirates tonight and get their asses?
We beat the Red Sox. So
yep. So
I saw you guys came back. It was 4-0. Whenever I looked early in the day, and then all of a sudden, a couple of my Red Sox fans text me, and they're like, "What the hell just happened?"
We probably won't score a run now for the next 3 games because we scored 8 today.
So the Red Sox are they there for 4 games?
3.
Yeah, it's usually only 3 with
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, with some of those.
I wasn't sure if they're
marquee
letting them play
players,
Monday or not. All right. Well, Boykins, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you keep saying Boydkins, it's Bodkins, but it's all good. I just let it slide.
My bad.
Again, it's the Bodkins Show. We're on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter. We'll be going live tomorrow morning at about 6:30, 7 o'clock Central Time Zone. Drink some coffee with us. We're going to be having a UFC pre-show. I'm a UFC 276, I believe it is. I get the numbers wrong all the time, but it's their big pay-per-view. I usually do a pre-show Saturday, and then I do a post-show Sunday. So we'll be going live both Saturday and Sunday morning. You can also check me out. I'll be going, if you ever follow Let's Talk Sports, I'm on there as well. I'll be having a morning show with them. And then the Sports Buffoons, we have a Monday show together. It's called Bodkins and the Buffoons, I think is what we're changing the name to. We're there every Monday evening on the Sports Buffoon channel. But my channel, we got the UFC pre and post show this weekend. And then I always drop just kind of a quick weekly sports wrap up every Wednesday morning, just kind of hitting all the highlights of sports for anybody that's just busy and doesn't know what the hell's going on, and give you something to talk about at your local barbecue and kind of give you my insights. I just dropped emergency NBA podcast this morning. So if you want to check that one out, that's check that one out. That was came out this morning. Just all my insights on everything in the NBA, my thoughts. That's kind of what I had to get it out because by the time I was ready to talk about it, so much else would have passed and I forgot a lot of it. So, but yeah, hit us up tomorrow morning. I hope to see everybody in the YouTube comment section. We'll ask if you don't even know anything much about the UFC. We try to just break down all the fights, pick fights. and kind of give you maybe if you're a gambling person who to bet on. So make sure you tune in.
Do you cover DFS as well for them? FanDuel and
So I mean,
DraftKings,
really,
or-
like the DFS is like the pick 'em. You can pick them. And most fantasy, UFC fantasy, it's just kind of straight pick 'em and odds. So, but we do tell you the odds and like who to pick, and we give a dog of the week, a dog on the card, and a lock on the card as well. So we'll be dropping that. It'll be me and Kenny and Craig come on. We battle for the supremacy of the title. We have a belt on the line each pay-per-view. So Craig is currently holding the title belt. He went perfect last card, so we'll be we're all going to be fighting for that title tomorrow and see what happens tomorrow night at UFC 276.
Sorry, I drew quiet. I don't even see UFC on the DraftKings thing.
Yeah, it should be on there. DraftKings is their major promoter.
Oh, MMA. I'm looking for
Yeah.
UFC. I'm looking for UFC.
Yeah, MMA. Try that.
I don't know what the hell.
19-2, Pittsburgh Pirates lost tonight.
Thanks for the rubbing.
So, well, I don't know if you're going to DVR. If you're going to DVR it, you're going to watch it. Don't
worry. Chase already jumped on me too. Chase and Outdated did the Brewers and Cubs rivalry I-94. What was that, Memorial Day?
I think it was, yeah.
So that was good little coverage there. That was a good show.
That was good.
So you're telling me I could put 25 on this? You're going to give me all the winners?
I mean, I can try. I mean, I can. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Tune in tomorrow. Tune into our show tomorrow.
Peyton Murphy got canceled.
Yeah. Murphy got COVID.
Oh.
So she drew out. That's that card has been now replayed. It'll be on UFC Long Island, which is I think later this month or something. I'm not good at dates, but because they put out shit every week. But I know it's not next week, but it's soon. I think late July, early August for that Long Island card.
All right. Outdated. How people get a hold of you?
NFL Updated on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Definitely like, subscribe. Tomorrow morning, I have a Commanders person coming on from Fox 61 News to talk about the Commanders and locking up Scary Terry and, see if we should be worried about them at all in the NFC East.
Are you going to be doing anything from Canton?
Not at this time yet. We'll see. But hopefully, definitely, check out that the chief communication officer interview. That was really interesting to just kind of hear the behind the scenes. We only see really about 15% of the whole collection. It's interesting to kind of hear some of that. And it's a really informative interview. And I'm excited to kind of, see it again. It'll be my third time. See my kids seeing it as well. So we'll see. And we may do a little bit of a video short from there, but probably not a podcast.
All right. I didn't know if Mika was going to get involved with this one or not.
I almost forgot when you said the Commanders. I was trying to think who the hell that was for a second.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh,
shit, yeah.
The Washington. Yeah, Washington football team / that team we're not supposed to say anymore.
The WTF.
Yeah.
All righty. So you both got shows tomorrow morning. I'm sure I'll be retweeting them whenever we get in the group. And all right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on. It's been fun. And we will talk later.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Man.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one, and we will talk. Have a good night, people.
You too.